Hello, friends. How you doing this morning? So I thought I would take this opportunity to kind of share with you the numbers behind what I'm creating for pride of ownership rentals. Um, I've done a lot of talk about why they make sense. I've helped a lot of people get started already, which is pretty awesome feeling. But I thought I would break down the numbers of a particular deal just so you can see what they are, right? Why make people guess? So I thought I would just bring up my sample deal spreadsheet, which is, again, admittedly very simple, but it does allow me to answer the question. This is, again, the spreadsheet I use for every deal that I've been doing for the last 8 to 10 years easy. It allows me to compare a condo with a multi-unit apartment building. I frankly don't use a different calculations for 20 units than a house. My job is to make sure that my capital is used effectively. And the capital is a constraint. So that's why I use this spreadsheet. I know some people use one calculation for houses and another one for units. I frankly think that's overcomplicating it, at least in the beginning, right? You need to know which deal is the best. I've been pretty clear that I think houses are better investments today than multifamily. I know this is counterintuitive. I know it goes against the grain that bigger is better, but I'm comfortable with that. I first and foremost have believed bigger and better for a long time. And I did that. You can look at the track record. You can look at my book. It documents it very clearly that we went from houses to apartments. However, you just never know what comes along. And I think there's been the Grant Cardone effect. I think there's the herd is just clearly pushing towards units. And anytime I see the herd and all the dust and all of that churn up from them, I go, all right, I'm going the other direction because I don't know where it is, but there's a cliff out there somewhere. And I'm just one person, and the herd, once it gets going, can't be stopped. So I get out of the way. So that's what we're doing. And I'm buying houses today, right? We're adding, houses to the portfolio for long-term holds. And, frankly, selling apartment buildings because we've established some pretty stupid prices, and at least 2 out of the 3 occasions people are willing to pay them. So we'll see if they close. But hey, if you want to overpay for something, go for it. I'll move the equity in the houses. So with that said, let's go ahead and make sure technology is working for us, and let's just bring up the spreadsheet first. And all right, so we'll move this out of the way so we can see all the numbers and not hide anything. So again, if you've been following me for a while, the most important thing for me always is what I call yield. It gets thrown around by lots of different names. I call it yield because it's just what I use. Again, it's a simple mathematical formula. I take the denominator as far as what cash I have to write. And then the numerator is expected yearly cash flow, which again, I don't take into account mortgage pay down. I don't take into account tax savings. I don't take into account appreciation. All those things are extra. I live by my income statement, and maybe it's your cash flow statement, whatever you want to call it. I don't live on my balance sheet in any of those things. So let's take an example. Let's say we have a house. It's a 3-bedroom, 1-bath. It's SFH, a single family home. Let's say I am selling this fully remodeled unit for $150,000 in California. And again, you can look on this channel. I've done plenty of walkthrough videos of before and after, so you can see what we produce. So again, for $150,000, you're getting a 3-bedroom, 1-bath house, remodeled kitchen, remodeled bath, painted, new floors, sometimes new roofs, sometimes new windows, depending whatever the house needed. That's what we do. So in this case, if you've been following me, you know that I am very conservative. So you can see I have a 30% down payment. I'm going to share with you my math. Feel free to change it to yours, whatever you want. But in this case, the buyer is putting $45,000 down. We have 0 repair costs because, again, one of the keys to my program is I've done all that for you. Frankly, I've done more than what most people would have done. And I'm giving you a fully remodeled unit, granite countertops, new floors, all that stuff. Because again, I'm trying to produce something that has no repairs for 5 years. Can I guarantee that? No. And I've never said that I could guarantee that. But again, that's my inkling, changing everything. You're going to have tenants in there, and tenants break stuff. So, bad stuff can happen, as I've said on this channel. We are going to have some closing costs. Let's estimate $2,000 in closing costs. Will it be a little more, a little less? Maybe. But again, we're trying to get close here. So in this case, the denominator of my yield calculation is $47,000. Somebody buying this 150K California rental is going to have to spend or write a check or a wire or whatever you want for $47,000. Then there's all the monthly expenses. Again, I'm trying to keep this simple, trying to keep it to one page or one view. So I've grouped stuff together. Excuse me, I might sneeze. So there's the mortgage payment. Again, use your calculation. Interest rates vary. Oh, I apologize. So again, interest rates vary. Insert your math, your formula. There's plenty of mortgage calculators out there. I've taken a swag at what they are. Some interest rates on investment properties as of this recording. It'll change in the future. So again, do your math. Put in your calculation. Okay. Don't take this as gospel. I'm just some guy on the internet. But again, do your math. Taxes and insurance, again, that's an estimate. Bought plenty of property in California. Could it be a little more, a little less? Yes. I used, I think, 1.12% kind of as a catch-all. Again, these are houses. I've seen people get insurance quotes for less than $600. But again, do your homework, right? This is just an example, right? Build your own. You can use the framework, but put in your actuals, please. In this case, I've assumed property management is 10%. Can you do better? Absolutely. But again, I don't want to be accused of being overly optimistic. So I put in what I consider to be a high number and something you would never pay more than. And then I added expenses and reserves. This is also vacancy and evictions and all of that. It's, I put in $50 for each. Again, the hope is you have nothing for 5 years. Will stuff break because of tenants? Absolutely. Work with your property management team to bill back if that's required, or fix it if, bad things happen. But in that case, you can see your total monthly expenses are right around $885. I am estimating no less than $1,100 rent for this unit. You will see in a minute what happens if I get my $1,150, which I think is possible. But again, I like to be conservative. So at $1,100, this investor is cash flowing over $200. Now, again, they're actually cash flowing more than that because the expenses and reserves are really truly cash flow. But again, that should be set off to the side. And, there is mortgage pay down and all these other things. And again, I share this because you hear different things out there in the real estate world. But in this case, I'm estimating a net cash flow of $215, and you're putting $100 away for reserves. So in this case, you take $215 times 12, and you get a total yearly cash flow of $2,580. Now you take that divided by your cash, which was $47,000. You times that by 100% to get a yield, and there you go. You get a rounded yield of 5%. It is just over 5%, but I just use big numbers, so or without the points. So what I wanted to do here is what would happen if, and to change this in real time. This should work. Yep. If I changed the rent and got my $1,150, which I think is possible for this fully remodeled unit, you could see that yield calculation goes up. Just coincidentally, also property management went up because, again, those are linked cells, right? So I said that we're going to estimate property management at 10%. So that went from 110 to 115. So cash flow went up. It went to 260. Then your yearly cash flow is 3120. And you can see this 150K house with 30% down, some closing cost, is producing a yield of 7% should we get the 1150. So again, these are just samples. Again, I always am conservative, so we will change this back to 1100. What's important in my program is I don't actually sell my stuff until it is fully leased and tenants are moved in. I see other programs out there that say, hey, I promise to get you 1100, buy it vacant, and then you put in your tenant. And they try to sell it like you pick the tenant, you do all of that. I think that's kind of silly. If you're working with someone who's supposedly an expert in that area, shouldn't they have the better systems and processes in place to put in a better tenant? And certainly if they're willing to stand behind their reputation, they're going to put in a good tenant so you don't give them hell in 6 months when the tenant doesn't pay. So again, you're going to get 5%, minimum with a California rental, assuming all of these things are close. Again, do your own math, do your own formulas. But again, a California rental producing 5% that's fully remodeled is a pretty good deal, and obviously there's upside. But real quick, before I move on, I just wanted to do a quick summary. I built this, so why not show it? So let's just do this. So in this case, I'll move this over here. So again, why buy pride of ownership? Again, a lot of people I talk to, time is your constraint. You have a busy day job. You have family commitments. You want to get into real estate investing, but time's a problem. So again, something I do is help you by giving you a completed product, fully leased, with a pretty well-known return, right? You can calculate everything once you're buying a unit that's fully leased. Money's cheap, at least as of this recording. Rates are going down. If you don't have your first 4 rental properties, get your first 4. I know people are getting investment loans with 30-year fixed money with a 4 on it. I can't believe that's happening, but it is happening. So that's pretty awesome. If you believe, like I teach, getting the 4 rentals is something that will change your future, now is the time. If you could get 4 loans below 5% fixed for 30 years, and then you just let life happen and inflation happen, both in values and in rent, you are going to be in very, very good shape going forward. And then finally, you want to ease into this. You want a fully leased, fully repaired, already operating unit. You need to reach out to me. And if you believe California is where you want to be, that is something you would like to look at. So again, I just thought I'd record this. I've done a lot of videos about what pride of ownership is. I've done, a bunch of content, but I thought I should step back and give you all a sample of what I'm producing by the numbers, right? I think you've seen lots of pictures about what they look like, but I think it's time to look at the numbers and see what is possible. So if you have any questions, comments, leave them below. If you want to get a hold of me and you want to get on my buyers list, which is ever growing, it's M Zuber. So M as in Michael, Zuber, at one rental at a time. That's all one word.com. mzuber at one rental at a time. If you want to be added to the buyer list, please send me an email or leave a comment below and we'll communicate that way. But I think getting a California rental, already leased, fully remodeled, with sub 5% interest rates is going to be seen as a gold mine in years to come. So hope that makes sense. Hope you like this. As always, ask me any questions and have a great day.